Welcome to Band Scamps, an in-depth look at albums and releases by West Michigan artists. Hosted by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez. This week on Band Scamps, Dan and Julio review Luster by Fruit Punch and Leaps and Bounds by the Brandino Extravaganza.
Welcome to Band Scamps, episode 4. My name is Dan Fisher, and I'm with my co-host, Julio Gomez.
Hey, Dan. Good to see you again. Good to hear from you again.
We have 2 great albums we're going to review today.
We do. And I just listened to both of them today.
Me too. I listened to them yesterday and today.
Yeah, me too. So, and I waited until yesterday. I actually knew about both these coming out, and I, as soon as we kind of conceptualized this podcast, I was like, you know what, we might as well just wait until I'm going to do this on the episode, and hopefully they're going to submit, and they did.
Yeah. And I'm really glad.
Thank you so much both artists. And they're both solo artists.
They're both solo artists.
We've had a lot of that.
First things first, let's see, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I've been on edge, but I'm doing all right. I'm happy to have this project to kind of take my mind off it and just I've been better, but I've also been really creative lately. So
good.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I have my studio. You guys can't see this right now, but I reset up my studio in my bedroom. So
this looks really good.
Light.
I like this. I love it. I like that you did the backfill light. You can't see it, viewers, but there's some backfill, and I think we actually can get a good shot of this. We're gonna do some maybe recap videos or something. We're gonna take advantage. Danny got a new webcam.
Yeah, I got a new webcam. I'm nice.
I've never called you Danny. Anyone call you Danny?
No one calls me Danny.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm sorry. It came out out of nowhere.
That called me Danny was in high school. His name was Louis Ochoa, and we had shop class together. And he was like this big metalhead, and he actually is the guy who inspired me to start playing guitar.
Oh, hell yeah!
And he was like, Danny.
Would you, if I started calling you Danny, would that make you mad?
It would be weird.
Would you bring it up? Like if
if you started like consistently calling me Danny, I'd be like,
hey, I've noticed.
Let's cool it on the Dannies. Yeah, I guess Julio doesn't really have like
People have tried. People have really tried nicknames. Yeah, people have tried.
What have they tried?
Who?
Like what? Yeah, like
no. That's not a bit. This is not a bit, Dan. Danny.
That's terrible.
This is real
nickname. Who? The only one I could think of is maybe calling you Coolio.
Okay, that's one. Coolio is one, definitely. Yeah. And I actually got Coolio as a nickname even before the rapper Coolio existed.
Dang.
And so that was actually pretty cool for everyone involved.
Yeah.
It was when Fantastic Voyage came out, everyone was like, "Hey, Coolio." And I was like, "I know."
Is this you?
So that's one of the better ones. Who? My grandpa called me Who sometimes.
Oh, okay. That's kind of adorable.
Yeah. There's also Huli. A few people call me Huli. There's only a few. They know who they are. It's all mostly female.
Gotcha. Yeah, that you got to earn that one.
People only have just gone for it. You know, like there's only been a few people who have tried to give me a nickname, and they just started calling me something like Huli. Man.
You got to respect the boldness of just like getting introduced to a guy. His name's Julio, and you're just like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna call him
Huli. It's kind of cute.
The audacity of that I don't hate really funny.
I don't hate it. What I don't like about it is hard to spell. So even if I wanted to be like from Huli, it's just Juli. Like how do I spell it? Juli, or it sounds like Huli, like in Silicon Valley.
Right. I feel like
great
Huli,
show, but not.
That's not you.
The Huli company's not me. No.
Right. Huli, I feel like you could go by Julio Gomez if you were like a director.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a cool, like sexy director name.
I kind of like that. I'm gonna write that down. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna call you by a nickname, and I think
we'll remain with our just regular Julio and Dan.
We just kind of end up being full name people. You know.
Yeah,
like
we're definitely.
You're Dan
Julio
Fisher.
Gomez,
I'm
Dan
Julio
Fisher.
Gomez. A lot of our friends are blah 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 blahs. You know, that's kind of a Grand Rapids thing too.
It must be a Grand Rapids thing, yeah.
Speaking of Grand Rapids things, we got a really cool Grand Rapids thing to review as our first. Our very first record is by Fruit Punch, and the title of the record is Luster.
and it came
Deluxe?
out. Yeah, it's the deluxe version. I thought
Of
that was
Luster.
part of the title at first, but it's the album's Luster, and it's the deluxe version. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
I mean, we can talk about that right now. This is first things first. Let's get first things first. Release date.
First things first. Release date is November 28th.
Okay,
Of
and then
2020.
November.
Yeah,
Okay, a late one.
yeah,
Okay, cool. I like these late ones. I like both. They're so different. The ones that were put out early in the pandemic and ones that are put out later.
right. It really, I think that reflects on like just the amount of time everyone had during the year.
so much time. So
Yeah.
first things first. Fruit Punch. This is an EP. Looks like.
Yeah.
And the title is Luster Deluxe, and the deluxe little suffix on here I didn't really pay attention to when I first got the submission until I really listened to it. What about you?
Saying like I saw that it was called Luster Deluxe, and I was like, oh, that's kind of just like a cool, like hip kind of like album name. And then I listened to it and visited the Bandcamp page, and then to my surprise, I saw that it was just a deluxe version of Luster.
And I didn't see a non-deluxe version on there.
There's not a deluxe or non-deluxe.
Did you look on any other platform for one?
No.
Okay.
I just saw the Bandcamp.
You know, that just now occurred to me. Like, oh, maybe I should have checked Spotify to see if there was a non-deluxe. I guess we can look right now.
Yeah, we could look. It looks to me just from the Bandcamp that he has released each song or most of the songs as singles, and then he compiled them into what we now know as Luster Deluxe.
Yeah, I noticed that too. So that's I think a good thing for our listeners to be aware of is that all these songs are also available in some form or another on the Bandcamp as well, and seem to have been released earlier than this whole thing, right?
Right.
It seems like it was like release a single, and now we have it all compiled as Luster Deluxe. And the Deluxe is something interesting that I have not come across. I'm not really sure ever in this format, which is, that does say something.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm on Spotify right now, and
I was pulling that up too while I was
so
talking.
it looks like it's just Luster on Spotify.
Okay, awesome.
That's interesting.
Okay.
So in this
that actually changes a lot of stuff here.
It does.
And I kind of want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, same tracks. Okay, and it's still in. Okay, perfect. So I
Yeah.
think that kind of takes out some of the questions that I was going to bring up about this
Same.
record. So I guess for some context, all these records that we've been listening to are listener submitted, and how I received this one was in the Bandcamp link. Here's the album I put out. Fruit Punch, the artist, messaged me personally and said, "Here's what I put out. It's here." And so that's what I listened to. So knowing that it's on Spotify, I feel a little silly, a little bit not even looking at that, but that actually helps me
I
to
didn't
review
look
this.
at that either, but that's that definitely changes just actually how you listen to the record.
So I think we should totally disregard the fact that we listen to Luster Deluxe and review this record as Luster.
I agree.
Okay. And listeners, if you disagree with us, please tell us. We want you to engage with us.
Yeah.
Our email address is bandscamps@gmail.com.
Yes, we are still accepting submissions. Please let us know about your 2020 release.
And I want to hear about your thoughts on this. So we are just going to skip to basically, I'm going to review this as Luster. And maybe at the end of this, we can talk about why we're choosing to review it as this and not just review the
that's a
deluxe
great idea.
version. Cool.
All right, so first impressions of Luster.
Yeah, let's jump right in. And I'm really liking the first. Let's try to do it in order. My brain already wants to jump to the big picture questions, but we've just been stewing on it,
Right. First impressions is this album is just, it's so dancey and catchy. And, and like,
you can tell right when this album comes on, you can tell what kind of record you're in store for.
Yeah. And it's pure fun.
Yeah. I love this artist. I've seen them before. I've had them on my other show, Grand Rhapsody, one time, and it was great. And I really like what they do. So
Same.
it was a real treat to have them submit this record to us.
Yeah. And again, this is a solo artist. And it's pop. It's pop music.
It is. So right away, let's go. First impressions from me. Yeah, it's fun. It's sassy right away. This
Right away, I
is-
get those like Lizzo vibes.
Sure. I also get like Pet Shop Boys. I
Oh,
get
yeah.
like the Bronski beat. Like
Okay.
this music is definitely off the bat. You can tell this is definitely queer centric music, and I think
Yeah.
that's intended. But it also has a lot of disco and dancey British kind of influence to it.
Yeah, it kind of has like this like 70s, like late 70s, early 80s kind of like vibe. Like,
Totally. I think straight up mid 80s, early rave kind of stuff.
yeah, I got that too.
And this features this kind of dancey music. Some of it, it's almost like vapor wavy. Some of it is kind of that too slow trance music that was popular in the last couple years that I really enjoy. I don't know what they're calling. It's like kind of tech house, kind of like it's like trance music, but it's slower.
So forgive my naivety, but
Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce that
Purple
word. So please pronounce.
is purple a reference to something? And maybe
Like-
you can shine some light on this for
okay,
me.
I don't think so. I think purple is literally a reference to the color. Is purple a reference to something else? I don't know. I think
didn't know.
I think on very, very. Did you read the lyrics of all
I
these?
did.
Okay, so but you don't really need to. The lyrics are pretty clear as day on this record. They're very, very, very vocal present.
Yes.
Fruit Punch's delivery is very, very clear. He pronounces everything.
Yeah, good enunciation.
Great enunciation. So that's a 99% enunciation from Band Scamps. That's pretty good. That's our only numerical rating we're ever going to do, too.
Exactly.
I think the song's about identifying with a color because it's like fun and sassy. And there's some really good lines in here that just make you laugh, make you think.
There are good. Actually, let me pull up. I'm going to pull up the Bandcamp right now because
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to actually read the lyrics.
It's fine by me. Yeah, there is one part where he says, "King of Kings," he's like King of Kings. I never met him. I don't deserve him, or so. It's like something hilarious like that. Or he like talks about all these blue and pinks, pathetic.
Yeah.
And like there's all these little lines. It's about the love of a color. I really think that this is about a color.
Okay.
So maybe some like background info. I know for a fact that Fruit Punch comes from the background of visual art, and I think particularly photography.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, and I think that's info that I think context is a little bit important. We've decided, but I think too much context we don't really care for.
Yeah.
But I think that
just-
is a good one to know.
just because of like the kind of underground like rave vibes I got, I think that made me think perhaps purple was alluding to some kind of drug or something.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, sure. I don't think
I
so.
don't know, though. I am not familiar with the rave
I don't think that. Well, okay. I don't think that this guy comes from the rave scene.
I don't think so either, but I don't know a lot about him.
Sure.
So if you
That's a valid question. I think the song is literally about a color.
it is very direct about, again, like you said, like talking about pinks and blues.
But I mean, I totally understand why you would ask this question because
Yeah.
later on in this record, it does get very suggestive.
Right.
And I think that I think that asking about like, is this song, I think that it really does call into question this for after you listen to more tracks, it calls into question what you just heard as far as it being real.
Right.
So good question. I don't know.
Let's go back to that line though, where you're talking about the King of Kings and like that whole verse part though, because I thought that really stuck out to me too. Because
Do you have the lyrics pulled
obviously
up?
this
Go ahead.
guy,
Do you have the lyrics?
yeah. All right, I'm gonna read it from that King of Kings part because that's where it kind of starts. Like the King of Kings, I'd never heard him. I don't deserve him. 40 days he was praying in the desert, tempted by the devil, but he wouldn't play or revel. Dirty devil.
Wait,
Take
does
the
he say?
desert
Does he
out
say? Wait, King of Kings. I never what? I never hurt
I'd
him.
never hurt him.
I'd never hurt him. Okay,
Yeah.
when I heard him, I thought he said I'd never heard of him. I've never heard him. I've never heard him. I don't deserve him.
I don't deserve him. 40 days he was praying in the desert, tempted by the devil, but he wouldn't play or revel. Dirty devil, take the desert out of the freezer.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in here. Then
Yeah. I won't,
So
I won't eat it. That is treason because my name is Jesus.
there's so many funny lines in here that I really love, and that is his I don't know.
That's very much in his like MO kind of just like a really good play on words, really funny, but I don't know. It's very witty.
Because I feel like I need to know exactly what I'm looking at here. Because there's so much. There's just so many words in what he's doing,
Right.
and it's all clear as day. He wants you to hear the words. Let's move on. I think that you bringing up that this song might be about something more than just a color is interesting, and I think that we can explore that more as this goes on. It's like he's rapping. Rapping is poetry. Poetry has suggestive meaning and different meanings and double entendres and all that shit.
And like the style of the music adds to that.
Definitely.
So I think that's really interesting.
Right. Man, after knowing that this thing was put out on Spotify, I had to like jump around is what I'm talking about here. Mm-hmm. I have good production, funny lyrics. This is great. Do you think this is intentionally funny?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. I think that this is like it's really good. I would really I'm just gonna say now I would recommend listening to this record just because of some of the goodies in here, and some of the tracks are really nice. And to my knowledge, I think Fruit Punch produced these tracks. I don't see any. I looked for credits to see if there was anyone else.
I think this is all just a self-produced.
I think so too, and I think that is. I think to my knowledge that is new-ish. That some of the other tracks were not made by them in their last stuff.
One person with a groove box at home, and I think we'll get more into that later on when we explore the deluxe part.
Let's go to the next track here. Next track.
Let's go in.
Next track, we're going in, and the next track is Noise.
And
this track starts. It's kind of a little more of the same kind of stuff, and you kind of know what you're in for. Mm-hmm. This is a song, more lyrics. It's about liking to dance and about passion.
Yeah. I love that like quote chorus of, so many ways to find joy. I don't know. That's a really, it feels so like relevant in just kind of like self-care culture. And I really dig it.
A lot of lyrics. Reading through these lyrics now is making me aware of how many words there are. And that does really come across. I think that Fruit Punch is really trying to make sure that their words are coming across. Almost to a point where it's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
It's a lot. But I didn't necessarily feel like attention fatigue.
It's not overwhelming.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I didn't really feel like I was getting fatigued by it, which is good. And that's effective.
Yeah. This is also the first song on the record that introduces some, I believe, Japanese lyrics.
Yeah. Did you get a translation on this?
I didn't. I put in like one, and Google was like, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think it's must be like either like slang.
Well, I think it's all phonetic one. Wait, are we on Noise? Are you going to the next track, Freeze?
This is on
Noise. You're right. I looked up a different phrase. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there is some like, and it's kind of phonetically spelled out, right?
Yeah.
But that is a thing. I don't really know much about Japanese, but there is, I think, English like phonetic spelled out variant of a written language that is Japanese-ish. And I think that's what this is.
For sure.
So I think we're going to post, probably when we post this episode, we'll put these lyrics up so people can help us. And I have a few friends that kind of speak Japanese, but I don't know if I have any that, know it at this level.
Sure.
Or would know how to decipher this.
It makes you, I like that it like draws you in because it is so lyric forward. You're kind of like, oh, what does this mean? Because the lyrics are so fun and playful.
Yeah, this is like a dance party anthem. This is maybe one of, I would say, like the more catchy songs on the record. This one and maybe even Purple, in my opinion, are probably the two really catchy ones. And I think that they're in a good order here, these two.
I agree. This is like the single if you had to pick.
Yeah, this has like the first like actual like hints of a chorus or a hook.
Yeah.
Which I think would also serve Fruit Punch well to employ more of. And
that's the thing is, these are very like untraditional song structures.
They just kind of go on and on and on and on.
Which is interesting for pop music. It's
Yeah.
very, there's not like a lot of like pick out, like I can't really pick out melodies necessarily.
No,
It's more just kind of a feeling, lyric context kind of thing.
It's much more rap than it is. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think that there is even anything close to singing until like 2 more tracks from now.
Yes.
There actually is a point where they sing. We're not there yet. Man, I so much have to jump around.
Well, let's move on to Freeze.
Okay.
And Freeze and I want to bunch up Freeze and Melt. And
I think that's fair. I think Freeze and Melt are specifically companion pieces to each other.
Yes. I really connected with both Freeze and Melt a lot. I really liked these songs. Lyrically, I think they were really interesting and vulnerable.
It's interesting. You want to lump them together. Would you be opposed to this being one song?
I wouldn't actually, because they're so similar in that way.
Yeah.
I had to go back. Maybe
I had to go back and see if they're the same key. Yeah, these are kind of long songs.
Mm-hmm. I like that he just really jumped in with like the metaphor. It was not trying necessarily to be like sly or clever. It's like this is a hard metaphor, and
it is.
But I really like that.
Yeah, definitely, it is hard metaphor. I mean, it's like it sounds to me like, and I don't want to be overstepping it too hard, but like a young man's sexual awakening, like in a foreign country, Right. And I think some of this has all been kind of hinting at that, and maybe that's where the Japanese comes in that we heard to play.
Sure.
Like I think someone went to Japan a boy and came back a man.
Mm-hmm.
In like the best way possible. And I do know like context and everything, and us being connected to the scene. I know Fruit Punch, and I made it an effort to get to know them after seeing one of their performances. So I know a little bit more about these songs probably than you do, and about like the context of them. But I don't think you need to know that to kind of infer.
No, you kind of get the gist of the story he's trying to say.
Yep.
And it was just it was interesting. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just it's such a direct metaphor that it drew me in. And I'm really, ever since our second episode, I'm really trying to be lyric conscious, because
interesting.
I think I owe it to the artists to really pay attention to all of their efforts,
for sure,
as a critic.
And I do think that furthermore, they owe it to you to get their point across in a way that's easy for you to understand. I think they think that this lyric stuff is really good, but I do like worry, like, okay,
is it too reliant on lyrics?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, lyrics have been a thing forever, right? Including lyrics in your album. It's not unheard of.
Right.
And even when I was a kid, I used to like really relish it when it was like a punk band or something. That was like, oh, hell yeah, there's lyrics in here.
Oh, it's the best.
And the guy's just screaming, but nope, here's what he's saying, and I can tell he's saying that. You know?
And then you can kind of like flex on your friends, be like, you know what he says right there.
Yeah, exactly. So he is definitely not trying to be misunderstood. Like he wants to be understood.
Yes.
And there is some metaphor here and some simile, but it's not really hiding or hiding what it is.
Right. He's not trying to like confuse you or be mysterious. It's just I think he is saying this is really the best way to describe how I feel. So
going into song 3, which is Freeze, I wrote, this is kind of starting to sound the same.
Yeah.
And that isn't always my favorite thing to feel.
Okay.
And I don't really need bands or music to all sound different, but once it gets too much the same, I kind of like start questioning stuff, and it just kind of takes me out of it. So I remember I wrote here like lots of goodies lyrically, and then at the same time I wrote, this song could almost be kids' music.
I think that kind of just goes to the production value a little bit.
Really? I almost think I know I said this about something else too. This could be kids' music once, but wait, did I? Is that on this episode? I can't remember. It's all starting to blend together.
I think it's probably on this episode.
Okay, so
because I have that same comment.
you have children's music. Okay,
yeah. Well, not this album, but
okay. Well, let me. Okay, let me go into this. So Freeze Where I gotta find where the lyrics are. Going into Freeze, like I said, this is all starting to sound the same, and it's not in a bad way, but it's making me wonder, what kind of music does Fruit Punch listen to? You know? Like, I don't know why I question this, but when things start sounding the same, I start thinking, do you listen to this type of music, or are you kind of just emulating a type of music you wish you listened to? Or, I mean, I think that, like, it's totally valid to make the kind of music you wish you could hear, too, you know?
Yeah.
I had a friend I used to play in a band with, and people would ask him what kind of music to listen to, and he said, my band. And people would always laugh about it, but it's like, that's exactly it. You're making music that doesn't exist.
We need to embrace musicians listening to their own music, because I do it all the time.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
Some people don't even realize how unlistenable it is sometimes, or how good it actually is. They just make it and are like, oh, here you go.
If you don't vibe with your own music, it's probably not good.
Hold on, I just knocked that. You got. We've said that before. You got to fuck with your own music.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think to me, I get just kind of a vibe of maybe lack of musical experience.
I think that's totally 100% valid.
But it's not like a turnoff necessarily. I think it just indicates room to grow.
Totally. I think it's actually really endearing. I think I think you can tell this person is kind of new to this.
Mm-hmm. And I love that about the music in a way. It's very fresh for veterans like us.
And it makes it more punk too. I mean, this is a person who decided, I'm going to make music. I'm going to do something different. I was a visual artist, and I'm going to do something totally different. And it's going to be so different that I'm going to have to teach myself how to do what I'm doing.
For sure. Yeah, learning a new craft is punk.
And you can tell that we're watching them learn. And I think that some of these songs, they put a lot of work in them. You can tell because of how many lyrics. I've never written a song that had half of these lyrics one of these songs does.
No, I could make like a whole album off of one song's lyrics.
Man, it's insane. So
yeah. But it kind of reminds me of like those like punk records though, where I feel like punk records also fit in a lot of lyrics sometimes. I feel like Rancid songs are just like
a full punk record might be like 21 songs.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about here? 6, 5?
1, 2, 6 songs, I think. 1, 2, 3, 6. Yeah.
So anyway,
5.
Children's music. Some of these lyrics are so good, and maybe that is just an effect they're going for. Is this kind of innocence bottled up?
It's just so matter of fact. I think that's maybe what you're getting at. Is like there's just no denying what that means, even though it's metaphorical.
Right.
It's just like exactly what he's saying.
Well, yeah, and maybe because I know what he's saying, I'm looking for even deeper hidden meaning in that. I'm like, okay, this is kind of an overt song about. These are songs about like being repressed and then like no longer being repressed, or like desire and then like desire being fulfilled. And so maybe I'm just looking for like, oh, what is their other meaning? And like maybe it's just this very direct delivery. I just kind of get a kids music vibe out of some of this. And not that it's bad, but just that he could totally make kids music.
For sure.
If this wasn't so overtly sexual in our opinion, which that might just be our brains, right?
I think it is 100% like overtly sexual, and that's like kind of the appeal of like the music too.
Listeners, we want to know what you think about this record. Please.
Do you like sexual lyrics? Overtly sexual lyrics.
Dan wants
Some
to know
people don't like that stuff.
Dan wants to know what you like. What you like.
Tell me. If you're comfortable sharing your kink, emails at bandscamps@gmail.com.
We'll do a kink episode.
Yeah.
Local music reviews and just like general kink discussion.
Yeah. We're very multifaceted here at Bandscamps HQ.
We put out a back pages ad. It's just an ad. It's just to talk to us. No services offered. Just call us. Yeah, it's free. We should get a phone number. There are some people that have podcasts that have phone numbers. We should get a Google number and you can leave a message.
Do you remember Text TV?
No.
It was like this like public access show, and like there was like a number on the screen, and there was like a sidebar of just like a chat room text thing. You could just text this, and it would just like have this like kind of like chill like Wayne's World like talk show while this like text scrolling is going on the side.
That's awesome. They do that kind of stuff on Twitch all the time. Did you ever like call like a party line, like a phone call party line?
No.
They're crazy. Like you call and there's just a bunch of people in a lobby on their phones like, hello, hello, hello. Like it's all echoey.
That's
Some people are on,
chaos.
it was hilarious. Like all people, everyone's people are on speakerphones. I swear I heard like a ghost. I was like, whoa.
Listeners, if that's something you're into, let us know.
Okay. So
I'm not opposed.
let's I guess let's back to the subject at hand, which is this local this Fruit Punch record.
Yeah. I see what you mean though. Like, yeah, like I mean, there's some lyrics that are very like kitty. Like I got hotter from the friction. Like that's just so
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
and maybe part of it is that the flow sometimes feels a little forced. And like but sometimes it's really cool. Sometimes like this I'm not going to critique the way that this guy raps. It's really really interesting, but sometimes it's going to I think grate on people.
Yeah. I think if you listen to enough rap music, you can hear like rhythms, like complex rhythms in
Oh yeah,
how,
this
you know, and
there's some real surprises. Sorry, I mean cut you off.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good. And just like yeah, like my favorite kind of like rap rhythm is when they do like kind of like that triplet thing. It's like
That- and that-
uh-huh. I
Yeah,
love that.
the Migos flow.
Yeah.
That's been a big trend for a bit. And
I'm into it.
Man, it's insane to like have created a whole different rhythm, but it got emulated so hard that even Fruit Punch is doing it. You know,
Right.
But he's flipping rhythms. He's doing a lot of really cool stuff that I think is really really commendable.
Yeah, and it really to me is like that brings out like the poetry of it.
So I wrote at the end of this track, I was sitting there and I wrote at the end of Freeze. So I'm going to say we were kind of talking about these two things, but I have at the end of Freeze, I really hope this next song is a little more exciting.
Which it's not.
No, it's kind of just a continuation. However,
Yeah.
it has a really, really interesting part in it.
What's that part?
There's singing.
Yeah,
There's,
that's right.
There's straight up singing, vocal singing. And I feel like this is a really, really, really good and vulnerable moment on this record.
For sure.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I
about?
really appreciated that.
Yeah, there's a part, and what's crazy is as I was writing, I'm listening to this record, and as I'm writing, I wrote he could benefit from hooks and chorus. He's probably not a singer though. He should branch out and find someone who could help out with that.
Yes, I would love that.
And then I wrote, oh, this track is nice. I really want to hear the instrumentals. And all of a sudden, I wrote the singing ! It's like, whoa, there it is. And I wrote right before I was like wanting it. So I think that was effective, making me want to have vocals or singing. I mean, not just vocal, like a melodic singing melody, and then it happened, boom, and that was dope.
Sure. I think because the music is so lyric forward that I was able to appreciate Melt on that level, just like the callback and the kind of like it's like the epilogue of Freeze, you know, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So musically, maybe not as, you know, it's still kind of the same thing, but lyrically, it was
Thematically, you liked it thematically. I mean,
Yes.
I think thematically, I think it's sexy music. I think even like if you don't identify as queer, I think you're gonna find and appreciate like the overt sexuality or sexiness of this record. You know,
Yeah.
it's there.
the feelings he's talking about they're so accessible because everyone has gone through this, but it's still
Totally.
so personal.
That does happen, I think, really well with this. That the things that he is talking about, these are not feelings or emotions or experiences that are exclusive or special to like the queer community or the specifically homosexual male community. These are experiences that everybody has.
Yeah,
Or everybody wants to have, right?
Yeah, like he talked
Everybody
about vulnerability,
hopes to
talking
have.
about love, talking about sex. It's these are very like human things that are not necessarily spoken about for the queer community.
Well,
until now.
no, I don't think I think that's not true, but I think that this is definitely spoken of in a way that is unique.
Yeah, it's not novelized.
No. And it's not really even like I don't know. Let me think here. Like say what you said again. What you just said.
Like that everything that he is talking about is it's such on a human level. It's
Definitely.
not novelty
No.
that he's talking about sex
No.
and love. It's him. It's what he's feeling, and that's where the accessibility comes in.
Definitely. I think that where it is successful is that it's not making it as like this is an exclusive to gay or queer culture thing. This is these are universal experiences.
Yes, exactly.
And I do think that some like gay or queer centric music does often, or not often, can have the tendency to occasionally make it be this is a thing that's exclusive to gay or queer.
I would be interested to hear what like the queer community feels about this, because as we touched on earlier, like there are a lot of funny lyrics, but he's also talking about very, real things. And so do they feel
I think it's all pretty light though. I mean, this album's not really getting into any of like the more like hard to talk about aspects of being queer or gay. It's mostly about like sexual awakening, right?
Yeah. I just wonder if because of like the dancey, lighthearted nature of it, does it take away from maybe the message of the song?
Well, what's the message?
Or the message is that I am opening up myself up to.
Sure. I don't think it's like a serious message that is being cheapened by the humor, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I'd be curious to see what other people think about that. Though.
For sure, send us a message.
Especially people who, are like folks who are still dealing with a lot of shame about their sexuality, and I get like when you're like passionate about something but you're kind of ashamed of it,
sure,
and then someone is like speaking out about it, but they're kind of they do it in like a joking nature,
or
you're
flippant.
just like, you're not helping us,
right I don't know, that's interesting, but I mean at any rate they chose to present it in this way, and I think it worked. I think it's successful. I don't think I would enjoy this as much when it's serious, and that kind of brings us to the next track. Bad Heart.
Yeah, this is the last song of Luster.
So this is a lot of more of the same, but maybe more of a less serious tone. It's definitely sounds like it's about like medical treatments or something, and like
but oddly political.
Yeah, I think I need to revisit these lyrics. I think the tone of this last song for like kind of turned me off a little bit, so I kind of checked out, even though I heard it twice. So I need to actually go back and read these lyrics.
Let me find them. Okay, here is here's kind of where I really was like drawn in. Where is it? Okay, I'm gonna read some lyrics here.
Okay.
It is okay. Put the leads on upon my chest. Bully me for every test. EKG and X-ray vest. How much money? Take the rest. The problem's not my health. It's the cost. Got no wealth. Nothing else can help with lack of funds. And then there's some more lyrics. And then, all right. Here's the phrase. Of course, I give my doc total respect, but my thoughts remain on his paycheck. I steam inside the hospital room. A gleam is bouncing off his shoes. Tell me how much they pay you. How much did those cost? I love that. That's a really interesting kind of. I feel like that's where the song really kind of like took a turn, like thematically in like the lyrics.
Yeah. So I definitely not reading over these lyrics now. I didn't miss anything. So everything that I thought the song was about, it is about that. Yeah. It is poignant and it's a good take. It actually is relevant to the time right now. A lot of people
100%
are having healthcare issues, both in financing their healthcare or losing their healthcare because they lost their job or whatever. How did you feel about this song being included in this EP?
I think that lyrically it might not fit in like the whole theme of the record.
Right.
But
Sonically, it does kind of.
yeah, I think the way that it fits is because there is an allusion to feeling heartbroken. You know, because it says, "Take a look at my heart. It's breaking. It's getting worse. You're taking all that I earn." And so that's obviously talking about money stuff, but you know, a broken heart, just saying heart and breaking in the same kind of sentence
Yeah.
is still, he's still going through all types of different heartbreak.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I only ask you that because I like the song and I like it on this record. I kind of wish it was before Freeze. That it went like Purple, Noise, Bad Heart, and then Freeze, and then end with Melt.
Interesting.
And then you melt. I think that just, it's, that being the last thing that I'm going to hear, now all I can think about is Bad Heart. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh man, you know, I'm either like thinking about how lucky I am in some situations of my own health and how unlucky I am in some situations of my own finances or something, you know? And so, or as a standalone single, I don't know. I think that somehow that where it's at right now does not sit well with me.
Interesting. I kind of disagree. I think like this is his version of like kind of ending on like, you know, more somber ballad kind of, you know, a lot of like records, they kind of end on like the, you know,
for sure, the slower
tune
one
at the end.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of his version of that.
Okay. All right. Do you think that's effective?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I really enjoyed how much this record made me think. Honestly, just for being a catchy dance record, it really stood out to me just how introspective it made me.
Definitely. I wrote this is all personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very, very personal. You know, and they're trying to. I think they're trying to be personal and introspective, right?
Yes.
It's trying to be autobiographical, and that's why I wonder if, like, the issue I have with that song "Bad Heart" is its placement. Mm-hmm. And it's either within the track listing or within this album as a collection entirely. And I think that it's at the end because it's maybe the most recent song he's written out of these.
I was just going to say that. I think this could be an allusion to future work.
Uh-huh. Okay, future work, or this is autobiographical in nature in that the timeline is literally, I wrote this song, then I wrote this one, then I wrote this one, then I wrote this. These might be older songs. I don't know.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I got that impression too. I think I experienced a growth of his songwriting throughout the listen. You can kind of hear it.
Yeah. Wait, say that one more time.
You hear, as you listen to the record, you hear like him growing as a songwriter.
Yeah, you know what you do. It does get a little bit more complex and a little bit more varied, and maybe that was something they were trying to show. But
yeah,
I think by the time
Mel, he sings.
Yeah,
that's the first time you hear him sing.
Right, and that I think is one of the best moments on this record. And I wrote here, here's some singing, and I can tell they aren't really confident about it, but I liked hearing it, and the vulnerability is on theme.
Absolutely. It
so
sticks out, and it leaves you wanting more.
And that did stick with me. And it stuck with me, okay, like this is someone who is singing who is not the most confident in this, but they are doing it. It probably took fucking forever to get the right takes. And here it is. And I like it. And I think that Fruit Punch really would benefit from some really catchy hooks, you know?
Yes.
Like, and I think that maybe they need to team up with a songwriter who can write these hooks for them and just blow us out of the water. And it's this catchy little hook, and then he comes in and raps over a sick beat, and then the hook comes in and whatever. And there's nothing wrong with collaborating.
No.
I know the only thing that's wrong with it is trying to find people that you trust enough with your art, you know?
Right. It's such a interesting artistic decision to choose singing for like just that part, you know?
Right. It's deliberate. I like that.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the more like things that make you go, about this record in my brain.
Yeah. Automatically you're like, I should really pay attention to what he's saying here because he's singing it.
Yeah. It changed it up really good.
Yeah. All right. So I think now's the time that we talked about all the songs. I think now is the time we get into. I want to touch on this lightly, just because we found out that it's on Spotify as just Luster.
I have a couple more things before we get
Okay.
to that. Let me have so I wrote one thing here about this is I do think that Fruit Punch is really trying to be heartfelt in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it comes across as like sort of funny, which is fine, which is good. And it's in a good way. It's really witty. It's funny. But I think if they want to go for something more serious in tone, that Fruit Punch needs to actually make music that's more serious in tone. Like, I think that putting everything to a fun, dancey beat is going to like kind of produce like maybe an experience of dysphoria in some people where it's like, okay, like it's okay to make it more serious and slower in tone. Like, I don't need to shake my ass to every one of your songs.
I think that will just come naturally to him, though, once he as he gets more experience with producing music. Because I thought a lot about like Of Montreal. Of Montreal writes some like really kind of serious, depressive lyrics, but it's all up against some pretty upbeat stuff.
For sure. And I think this stuff is even more upbeat than that stuff. This stuff is almost like disco stuff. Like I could see these tracks, some of the tracks getting sampled, and I wrote on here like, who made these tracks? And I think he did. I was like, I want to hear instrumentals of these, and then boom, they're there, which is awesome that there is access to these. I could see them being included in something else. But I think that some of like one of my critiques is he's going for heartfelt in a way that is just like you're coming off as goofy.
Yeah, it's just missing the mark a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's going for it.
And I think I would just attribute that to just like maybe the lack of experience.
And we have that to look forward to. And I think that what's commendable is they really went for it. You know, I think that we ask, you know, did they get there? I think they got there with this stuff. And especially because I don't think they've been making music all that long.
Same. I have only seen Fruit Punch once live. And obviously like the dancing part and like the comedy of it really stood out.
I think I was at that show, and I think like they blew the whole place away. I think
it was amazing.
Very few people knew about Fruit Punch, and every single person there was smiling and dancing.
Yeah,
like there was like hotties coming out of the woodwork that were just like, it was super funny. I remember like we were all laughing. We were all laughing about it because people just started coming in and then just started dancing, and it was great. He's
a great performer, great stage presence.
But we're here to talk about this record.
This record, though, okay, so going into that, I knew about that kind of vibe, and so it was a really nice surprise for me to, hear the vulnerability of the lyrics. But I think like finding that balance it's difficult, and I think again that will come with future work, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be. I think they really like this medium for their artwork and their self-expression, so I don't anticipate them going anywhere.
I don't think so either.
Cool. So what else do we want to say about this?
Let's talk about real quick, because I don't want to dwell on it, but like the deluxe part of it.
Sure. So this record was presented to me and submitted in the form of the Bandcamp issue, and it's Luster Deluxe. And as soon as I press play on this, there's an introduction. Mm-hmm. And I think I listened to this for a second, and I stopped it, and I texted you.
Yes.
And I asked you, I was like, did you listen to these, which appear to be commentaries? You look at it, it says purple commentary, noise commentary, whatever.
Yeah.
And I asked you, did you listen to these?
Mm-hmm. And I said no.
Yeah. And I kind of decided I was not going to either.
Yeah. And I still haven't listened to them because I really wanted to review this record on the music alone,
exactly, and that's
without any kind of artist input at all.
I think that was our best move to do, and the most honest way we could critique your record, Fruit Punch, was to have it be without your commentary, even though you released it in such a form. Right. But I think if you had not released this on Spotify as just Luster, I think this would have gone a whole different way. This whole discussion,
for sure.
So, for better or worse, there is artist commentary from Fruit Punch on these tracks. I'm not going to listen to them. I didn't want to listen to them before we talked, but I am going to give a listen to these. And on our recap episode, perhaps we'll talk about these.
Exactly. But I think it's just interesting to, I don't know, like I mean, I know the typical format of commentary, of adding commentary to records, is to have the commentary after each, or before or after each song. But
I don't listen to a lot of records like that, so I don't even
I don't
even know
either.
that
And
format.
like I think it almost feels like you're forced to listen to it that way, and it's a turnoff for me.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about it either, and I think I'm glad I listened to the track one, and then after I realized what is going on here, it's a commentary, so I just ended up skipping it anyway, and I kind of went like la 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 la, put my fingers in my ears, it's like what, don't listen, which is my technique. If I don't
As
wanna
like
hear
a
things.
person who puts out music, my opinion would have been to put out Luster and then have like the deluxe version as like for extra or something.
Or just have it like commentary at the end. I don't really know.
Either way, it's out there on Spotify. Fruit Punch, Luster. You can listen to the record all the way through.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to say? Check it out. There's a little kitty. Look.
Hi, May. Hi.
You hear him meow?
Mm-hmm.
Good baby. She's getting her surgery on Wednesday.
Oh, she's getting surgery?
Getting her kidney removed.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. Dude, you got your appendix removed and now May's getting her kidney removed?
Dude, I don't like, she's like kind of like, I don't know, she's losing it a little bit as like her cognitive decline.
Oh yeah.
But I think she's been losing weight, and I don't know if we didn't notice it because of my own surgery.
Right.
And I was recovering. She's being so funny. Hold on.
Can she not figure out the curtain?
She got in here.
Hey, Bubby.
But yeah, she was like not doing very well, and now she's like doing better. But
Yeah, she looks very happy right now.
She has a
Very
mass on her
content.
kidney, so we got to remove it, you know.
Gotcha.
But it might not be on her kidney.
All right.
Sorry, I gotta
Final
appreciate
thoughts.
the
All right.
moments.
Let's-
in case she dies in her surgery, I gotta appreciate her little moments here.
Right, for sure.
Okay.
She'll
Yeah,
be
let's get back.
fine.
Let's get back. Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Let's get back on track.
Final thoughts on this record. I like this theme of, was it successful?
Yeah, every record we've said, you know, an artist goes for something. Did they get there?
Did they get there? I think it got there.
Me too. I think that there might be a little bit of misdirection going on with the way that this deluxe thing is released. I'm not exactly sure that anyone needed it. You know, I don't think he's big enough to like have the demand for it.
Yeah.
I don't think that anything that he's doing is in danger of being misunderstood, but I think maybe he's afraid of being misunderstood.
Sure. I think this, like, in a lot of ways, putting this out was an exercise for him to exercise like vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that comes across very clear.
And I think especially if he made these tracks, or if they made these tracks themselves, that's awesome. That's an incredible feat.
Absolutely. So with that said, my rating is going to be 4 glistening drops of water on a bird's wing in the morning.
I'm gonna go for pineapple gummy bear.
Oh, so good.
Yep, the white ones, the clear ones. Right?
Those are my favorite. Clutch.
They're good.
All right.
So listeners, I would recommend. Would you recommend it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
It's,
Me too.
It's so fun.
I recommend it. I look forward to what they're gonna do next.
Yeah. But find it on Bandcamp and Spotify. Thank you again for submitting Fruit Punch.
And let us know what you think. Please send us an email. bandscamps@gmail.com. Yeah. Go
I'll
into it
take
again.
a quick break and then we'll go on to the next record.
Hello, West Michigan artists, bands, solo singer-songwriters, jazz trumpet players. I don't care. We want to review your record. Send us an email at bandscamps@gmail.com and we will review it. We do new episodes every Tuesday. We do live recaps every weekend. Come send your album in. Be a part of this show. Be a part of some of the biggest local music entertainment of 2021. Back to the show. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Band Scamps, episode 4.
This is the podcast where everyone's a critic, but not everyone is a scamp.
We are reviewing some of the finest West Michigan music that has been submitted to us by the artists themselves, and we are doing in-depth reviews and critiques of these records.
That's so oddly specific. It sounds like
it wasn't wrong though, right?
yeah,
So,
it's not wrong.
It's not
But
wrong.
It's like,
I'm not
you're
wrong.
like, oh yeah, if you would have stopped at finest music, it's like, yeah, that's a very common thing to say. But then like, the finest music that has been submitted to us.
It's like when my mom told me I was her favorite son. I was like, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
We have another record that we're going to bring to the
Another
table.
solo artist.
This is another solo artist, and this record is entitled Leaps and Bounds, and it is by the Brandino Extravaganza.
And it was released November 30, so just 2 days later after Fruit Punch.
Oh, interesting. And this is another Grand Rapids artist, so another person that we actually both know. We both know Brandino. We've actually done some shows with Brandino.
Yeah, we've done some shows with Brandino.
One, two,
just one. One, but we were gonna do two, but then the Founders thing happened.
Yes, yeah, that's right. We were asked to play, but then we are currently blacklisted from Founders. So until what's his butt no longer works there, we're probably no longer playing there.
If you want to know more about that, maybe
we'll do the whole episode.
We'll
someday.
do it on a recap episode.
Yeah, maybe we'll do for our Patreon episode.
Yeah.
We'll that's perfect actually. The whole
good.
saga.
Yeah.
But anyway, being the nature of Grand Rapids, this is an artist that we're both familiar with.
Yes. So let's just jump right in with
context here. We already know what's going on. First impressions. I love this album artwork.
Album artwork is great.
It's really good. It's a picture. It's a beach. There are big giant fell trees here. There's a dog jumping through the air. It seems like an actual photo, but it could be like digital stuff. It kind of reminds me of a Pink Floyd album cover, honestly. It has like kind of that feel. Like the hyper realistic photo.
Okay.
Something that's grander. I mean, these trees are huge. These are big, washed up. This is this artist's first release under the name the Brandino Extravaganza, correct?
Exactly. And I'll touch on that later, but
I think that's relevant too, and I think I think we can talk probably at length about that.
Yes. But right away, the first song is called Spectacular. This is a 6-song record, so probably an EP.
Well, how long? These songs are kind of long.
They're kind of long, though. So
I don't know. I would even put this in full length. I don't know what the total length is here, total runtime, because I hate doing math with time. You ever try to do that?
It's impossible. It's actually impossible.
Man, I was trying when we were ordering because we had this remix record coming out and we are getting tapes for it. So I made it so it's exactly the same length each side, but doing the math to figure out how long that was so terrible because once you get to 60, you go to 0 the next. 60 is 0. So
we really should have made an hour 100 minutes.
It's stupid.
Yeah,
we blew that.
Yeah, we really screwed the pooch on that one, guys.
So I don't know how long this record is on that topic, but it's 6 songs, and the shortest song is 4 minutes and 1 second. So this is kind of a long record.
Yes,
it's on average like 75% longer than your normal 6-song pop EP.
Yeah, we really need like the album equivalent to the word novella.
You love that. You love that concept.
I do.
So I think it's the 10-inch, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But what would we call? I want to call it like a ambella or something.
Right, an ambella. We'll make that up.
Yeah, I'll keep workshopping that, and I'll get back to you next episode.
So we were talking about this record here.
Yes. First song, Spectacular. Right away, I'm like, this is Brandino.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of starts with some beatboxing.
Mm-hmm.
And
or like the Cajon.
Yeah.
Al Cajon, I think it's called.
Yeah, the Al Capone?
Al Cajon.
Oh,
it's like
Cajon, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it means box.
Yeah.
I think
it just means box.
Yeah, like a crate.
So technically he is beatboxing.
He's beatboxing while playing a beatbox. So that's something. So this song, it's funky. It's a bit, sampley. It's a bit loopy. Mm-hmm. You can tell, okay, this is kind of a looping thing going on here.
Yeah. I think let's go into context here. I think the only context you really need to know about the Brandino Extravaganza is that when he performs live, he's like a loop guy.
Yeah, it's a one-man band.
Yeah.
And I think that knowing that context is good. Like usually I would be like, well, I don't know if we got to say that, but I think that comes across really well in this first track. I think
It
that
does.
you can tell that has like kind of a one-man band feel. And it does lead me to think that this song probably sounds about the same live as it does
Exactly.
here.
I wouldn't be surprised if most of it was done live, or like in one take.
Yeah.
And then maybe a couple overdubs, but
Like the bass of it at the very least was done
Right.
live.
or maybe like the guitar solo or something.
Yeah, I could see that too.
But
like-
it's essentially like an instrumental track because he just says spectacular.
Yeah, he says spectacular. Then at the end, there's kind of a cool like the boys where they kind of like are like, hey,
Yeah.
that's fun. Does this kind of music do it for you?
No.
Okay, I kind of thought that would be the case.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. This track,
Yeah.
I think that this out of all of the tracks,
It's
I
my
think
favorite of
this
the
is my
record.
favorite one, and I think
Same.
that since we're going first impressions, I
Yeah.
didn't know that obviously until I finished the record.
Same. Like like when this came in, I was like, this is great. This is a Brandino song. I love this.
Yeah, it is really good. I think it's a really good first track, and I was
Yeah.
really, really, really like, okay. By the time I was like, this is really, really fun. This is really, really kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe about 2.5 minutes into it, I'm kind of like, okay.
Yeah, what's the punchline?
And I do think that like it was really good sound. I love that digital woodwind that comes in, the EWI, EWIE.
Oh yeah,
EWI.
he has that that crazy instrument.
It's an electronic woodwind instrument.
Yeah.
And some people call it an EWI or an EWI. And yeah, it's really cool. It's a synthesizer, and it's programmable into whatever fingering you want to use. So I know, for example, Brandino's a saxophone player, so I would suppose that he has it programmed like a sax, the keys.
Right.
But you can also choose to program it like a clarinet or an oboe or whatever
That's rad.
woodwind, or in whatever kind of custom. Yeah, really cool, right? Really
Yeah.
cool instrument. And I'm so happy that he has one of these because it's really, I think he's really suited to
It
it.
plays to his strengths for sure.
Yeah, so that comes in. It's really, and this kind of sounds like soundtrack music. It kind of sounds like there's some kind of a funky heist that they're planning.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like the funk of this, and I like the bluesiness of it. It's really cool. But I do write that it's a little long. It's cool. It's a little
For an
repetitive.
intro track, yeah, a 4-minute intro track.
It's
is
a little,
long.
it's a little repetitive, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I said this is a really good starting point for someone to the world of Brandino.
Yes, like if you had to describe Brandino, this is a perfect example right here.
Absolutely. And I think that what works about it is that this is on its very basic level a very, very, very good synopsis of what you are in store for.
Mm-hmm.
At least I hope, right?
Yes.
I think I was hoping I was hoping that this was going to be a clue of what we were in store for. I did write here, it's a bit long, and it kind of feels like a song that is meant for a live performance. This is a hard thing for bands that are very live oriented to get around because there's a lot of tendency to put the cool live parts into the recording of the song.
Yes. I have a larger kind of comment on that though, that maybe I'll get into later more, but this.
I mean, I felt that initially from track one. So if you want to expand on it, go ahead.
Well, just the whole record in general, but that song is like, these songs are like pure entertainment.
Yeah, definitely.
This is meant to entertain you, to like make you smile, bring you joy.
I'm going to write that down because I think entertainment, this is the first time I think that this has really, really come up, which I'm surprised about.
Me too. I have a lot of opinions on art and entertainment. So,
Because they're lumped together. This is arts and entertainment, right?
yes.
Okay, so that has not, I think, come up yet. Maybe only like kind of glanced upon or touched upon, but we haven't really gotten into that too much.
And I think we can expand on that a little more after we talk about some of the other songs.
Okay, so I like track one. Let's go into track two.
This one is called Sunny Days. This is more on the traditional song structure.
Sure, I think you're right. This is a song. This is that's a good place to start. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Track one.
It's a song.
Track one was more of like a loop beat experiment. Jam.
Yeah.
And I think the
Jam
word
is a good
jam,
word.
we're probably going to have to introduce that into this. This is now starting to sound more like jam band music.
Yes.
And it's not so much that jam bands sound a certain way, but they have a tendency to sound a certain way, right?
There's nothing wrong with that necessarily. It's just kind of a facet of the music.
And it's something that I always have a hard time pinpointing. What is going on with this music that makes it jam bandy? And yeah, there's improvisation, but so in jazz there is too. And yeah, it's hybrid music and callbacks, but every music kind of has that. But this, I think when you
think it's
connect,
the blues element.
yeah, there is some bluesiness to it. There is almost like Sunny Days especially kind of has this even like Randy Newman feel to it.
Yes, thank you for saying that.
I mean, I'm not necessarily that it sounds like Randy Newman, but I think it really wants to.
Yes, it is. It straight up like sounds like Randy Newman.
You think so? Are we kind of in? Okay.
I like Randy Newman a lot.
Okay. He's someone that I don't like. I kind of like it makes me kind of just cringe. And I think that some of this kind of made me cringe a little bit.
Yes.
And like I don't want to have that experience, and I want to be as open-minded about music and genre as I can. But there was something about this Sunny Days track that made me just like, I don't even know. Like it was dense.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good word, is dense, because this is where I think the jammy part comes in, is that there's so many different elements of musical genres within this one song that kind of pop in and out. That's where the density comes in. There's no real, like, there's an overall kind of like Randy Newman-y, kind of like almost like Jack Johnson-y vibe.
Yeah, that came through.
But it'll throw in like these kind of like weird breaks of like odd time or like a odd instrument choice or something.
There's a lot of parts. And I wrote here, like, a lot of parts does not a good song make.
Right.
You know, like it doesn't, you put parts in it. And this is something that I like, parts in music. There's a couple prog bands that I really like and that do not follow the traditional verse chorus structure. But he's kind of trying to dabble in a medium here that demands a verse chorus structure, but doesn't give it to us. And instead we're kind of going off.
And that kind of goes back to the first track on the topic of entertainment.
Yeah.
Because those parts, I believe, work better in a live setting.
Oh, I think 100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's fun.
Agreed.
It's playful. But if you're crafting a song, are these parts adding to the song?
That's a good question. Yeah. Live, I think these really shine a light on Brandino's wit and talent and creativity. I think in a song, it's asking me to do things that it's not delivering.
Exactly.
It's not supplying me with the things I need to do to enjoy the song. And I wrote right away, but first, I have a lot of things written about this. I'm not liking this. This is a vibe I can't really relate to, and I'm just going to defer to Dan on this one because it's like 6 minutes long. Like that it's a something that I can not relate to so hard that I'm like, whatever Dan says, it's fine. And I probably I should not put myself in that position. And music should not put me in the position to to not care and be like, whatever Dan, like, and I wrote that down. Like, I'm going to defer to Dan. I don't care.
I think
and that's not good.
Yeah. I think I'm able to tolerate it a little more just because it reminds me of kind of like the Ram era of Paul McCartney. You know, just kind of like, it's just kind of, that's very Paul McCartney to like kind of, or like, you know, like Live and Let Die, it has like a reggae part in it. And it's like an epic song, you know. Uncle Albert is like, kind of starts out like chill and then goes to like mouth trumpet.
Like, it's a definite specific vibe. Like, I don't think it's like, I don't think that the problem with it is that I think it's like abstract or something. It's that it's a very specific vibe that I also think is very dated, you know. And it's like a weird hybrid to me that to me has always been cheeseball, but was like really cool like in the 70s to do this, like kind of like funky, bluesy, it's kind of jazz. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's just like, did he put it in just because it's just like kind of funny, you know? like to put in like this like interest, this like different part. You know, it's just like, what purpose is it served outside of like to get you to kind of like?
Let's talk. What do you think he was going for?
That's the thing is I don't know.
He's trying to entertain.
Yeah, he's trying to entertain, but
does he want me to like sing along to this song, or does he want me to just pay attention to him?
I think he just wants you to like laugh and smile. I think.
Okay, that's fine. I don't think it didn't do that.
I think that he's trying to like write a full song that isn't reliant on loops and like have like a verse chorus, but he is having a hard time getting there because he's throwing in all these other elements that are taking away from the actual song.
Yeah, there's a lot. And I think that this is so much different than cases where we've a couple times had like, oh, there's extra crud thrown in a song that we didn't like, but we kind of attributed that to like, just like, oh, let's just play something here. And this stuff, it seems like he really deliberately is like, I want this part here, and then this, and then I go to the slower part.
Here's the thing about this song and the rest of the record, but this thought came to my head right away when listening to the song, is that Brandino has a really good, as a musician, he really excels at emulating styles.
He's really good.
He's really good at it.
He's a flat out talented musician.
Yes.
Like full stop.
Super talented.
Full stop. Brandino, you are a talented player.
Yes.
I'm even call you a player. You get that distinction because
100%.
You are a player, dog. Like you play very well.
I almost think though that because he excels so well at emulating styles, it's to his disadvantage at times because he's not putting a take on a style. He's just doing that exact style.
For sure. And I think that's a good segue to the next track.
Yes.
The next track is kind of this Latin thing where he's singing in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
I looked this up to see if it was a cover. I don't think it is. I think it's because there is a song called Solo Quiero that is actually a song.
Okay.
How do you feel about songs in other languages or using other languages in your songs?
A very specific opinion of that, going back to his name change.
How about like in general, like when a band sings in a different language, how do you feel about that? Or an artist or whatever?
If it's not their primary language, it seems kind of gimmicky.
Okay. Like what if they were like re-recorded it for like the Latin market or something? Or like just did it with that?
I'm cool with that.
Mind. Okay.
Yeah, like when Christina Aguilera put out her like first record in Spanish,
right?
I was like, that's cool.
I mean, Shakira did it. She re-recorded all of her stuff is written in Spanish, and then it became English. And that's.
I think that's
not
that's
uncommon.
A whole record though. This is just one song.
This is one song. It's got like for like my experience with Latin music, which is like not like I'm not like an expert or anything, but I'm pretty exposed to it throughout my whole childhood, and it's like pretty close to like this kind of Spanishy vibe, and it's like I kind of appreciate it for what it is, and I think that what he's doing is kind of cool and an emulation out of respect.
I think it is coming from a place of respect, but it's just so tropey.
Yeah. I have a hard time with his accent. Like his accent seems like get out of here, dude. Like,
it's just like
I mean that as like a semi-native speaker, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not a diss. It just like kind of felt like it made me kind of roll my eyes a little bit.
Sure.
And like I'm never gonna show my mom, who's an academic Spanish person, this song.
Right.
like she doesn't get to see her.
Yeah.
Yet.
So.
And then that's nothing. That's whatever,
right.
And that's like really lofty. But I think you were saying like. That he's really good at emulating styles, yeah?
Yeah, and I think that this is not his like a Brandino song, like a Brandino take on Latin music. It's just him making what he thinks Latin music sounds like.
Sure.
And those are two very different things to me.
I think you're right. I think it was it two on the head,
Yeah, it's just like here's textbook things that are in that are common in Latin music. I'll throw them all together, and here's this like Latin style song. And it's not like it doesn't seem like he's inspired by Latin music. It's just that he wanted to make like a Latin sounding song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Like the what we got was what he set out to do.
Yeah.
I think
so.
I think you're right.
And so here's this is an actual gripe I have with the song.
Yeah, go ahead.
He used to go by the name El Brandino.
Sure.
And I think he changed that out of maybe he thought he was, appropriating.
So yeah,
Culture.
I'm aware of the whole thing. I think you're right. I think appropriation was one of them.
Yeah.
I think there was concern with there's already a lot of other Brandinos that exist, which is not surprising, and that just can just happen to anybody. You know what I mean? Like when you're like, oh shit, that band, name already a band there. So he maybe wanted to have his own unique thing.
Right.
And I think he was worried about it being a culturally appropriative thing. And I know this for a fact. And I even said, hey, I think he already made this decision, but I was like, hey, I'm part Latino and I don't really view it as that.
I didn't either.
But as soon as you start viewing it as that, maybe you do.
Right. And so if he is worried about appropriation, like why include a whole song that's in Spanish? Like you're a white guy making a Latin song that is hitting every Latin trope. It almost to me feels like mildly offensive.
And I like thinking about it in that way, I think it totally can be interpreted that way.
You know what I mean? Like I know it's not that by any means. You can tell he just loves music.
Sure. I think he loves music and I think he's trying to celebrate it on this level. I think that it probably wouldn't occur to him that like it seems a bit hypocritical to change your whole identity, but then still do the thing that you were just trying not to do.
Right.
100%. That's valid.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
I think all in all, this track might have been a mistake for this record.
Yes. I was really turned off by this song.
Yeah. I don't blame you. So let's just move on. I think that it was, like I said, I wrote in here, both records have some foreign language in it.
They do.
And so I think we'll talk about that at the end too.
Sure.
I said this is sort of a nod to the Latinness. That's what I wrote. And it's interesting because I think that I said that it's a nod to the Latino-ness, like even you said, or the Latinness, like you said, the El Brandino thing. I almost thought it was intentional doing this song as a nod to that. I wrote here.
I think my issue is that it's not just a nod, though. It's just like it's so formulaic.
Yeah, and I wrote he's definitely not a native speaker.
Yeah, like a nod would be to have maybe like a Latin-inspired drum beat.
Yeah,
but I think going is just like
going full Latin,
overt.
Yeah, going full Latino or going full Hispanic.
Yeah,
never go full Hispanic.
Yeah,
I don't even know how to phrase that.
Just half-ass it every time, guys.
Never go. Let's just say never go full Spanish.
Yeah, that's a good T-shirt right there.
There you go. Never go full Spanish. Here's the thing, man. I don't even have Spanish lyrics, dude.
No,
and I kind of speak and understand the language. I don't speak it good enough to say I'm bilingual on a job interview. That's my. But if someone wants to talk to me and sit down, I've had people like my Spanish speaking friends sit down at the bar with me and we talk in Spanish for a second because that's how they want to engage. And so I could do that, but I don't even write Spanish lyrics, dude.
No.
Do I have any?
I remember when your mom gave you like that Spanglish book. Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember you showing me that. I thought that was like really interesting.
It is interesting, and I totally could, but I mean, I don't. That's not me. But I mean, more power to him. I'm not going to judge him, man. And if he's celebrating Latino culture, props, dude.
Which I think he is.
Hopefully, let's hope.
Yeah.
So let's just move on to the next track. This one's called "Just Whistling."
This is my least favorite track of the record.
Man, this one, It's kind of like I didn't have it in me, man. I just said, oh, this vibe again, and do you think this vibe is relevant for 2020, like in any way?
In what context, I guess? Like what do you like?
Is this what you wanted, what you were waiting for? Is this like this music? I don't know. I'm sure that he worked on this for a while, but I almost really think that this was a project that was done during quarantine. And I can't imagine anyone's head being in this just whistling vibe and making that music sincerely. So it almost like worries me.
I'll be honest, like after I listened to this, I went back and just kind of looked at his whole discography, and I think Just Whistling is an older song,
Okay. Okay.
and I think that it's now been just re-recorded.
Okay,
I think
that-
it used to be called Just Noodlin'.
Okay, that actually gives me a little bit more hope because
Yeah.
even this, like, I don't mean to be a dick, but like,
Yeah.
I was almost concerned. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it almost sounded like cry for helpish. And I don't even know if I'm gonna put this in the podcast, but like, that's
Right.
what like I don't know what it felt to me.
Here's the thing: is like Sunny Days, like I think is his like attempt at like kind of like, all right, I'm gonna write a song. It's gonna have like some kind of personal nature to it, even if it's like, not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Do you think people are gonna like this?
I think they will, and I think
they do.
they do, and that kind of bums me out.
Sure. Do you think he might appeal? Like, I wonder, like, if like older people will really enjoy this.
This is just so the music is just so accessible, like
Yeah.
everyone likes this.
Right. Yeah.
It's hitting all the right marks of like, oh, that melody feels good. I can, these lyrics I hear what he's saying. I understand the words.
It's music. It's
Yeah.
legit music.
It's
Like, oh man, I know that like the song 2 is about him like not being able to whistle very good,
Yeah.
and then he like demonstrates that. Like, oh man, that is so hard to like to enjoy. To like, what about that am I supposed to enjoy?
Yeah, like why am I supposed to care about this song?
Right. It just wasn't working for me. And I like Brandino. I even like some of his music that I've heard recorded. I like his live show stuff. And maybe that's what I really like about it live, but like I kept looking for things to like in this record. Outside of Spectacular, and we're at Just Whistling, and I just it's not working for me.
This is another live song, this is kind
Yes.
of like the live gimmick thing, like where he can be like, oh, like he can playfully be like, oh, I don't know how to whistle and play my instruments, and then he just kind of like does it really well, and it's like, oh, like
Right.
good job.
Did this and he's good at his instruments. Like,
Yeah.
and
Really
honestly, we all know you're good at your instruments.
Yeah.
And I think that is setting, I want to talk about that in a bit, but that is setting up a different question in my mind. Does this track, Just Whistling, have the clarinet in it? Yes, it does. Yeah. Clarinet by Ryan Proch. Great clarinet work.
Really
Unbelievable.
good.
Like those, like the really nice glissando, and I was just so clarinety. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. But I also wrote, this could have been done in 2 minutes. This is like a 4-minute song.
Exactly. This is like
It could have been a 50-second interlude.
this is like a kid song.
And then on the next track, Are We Cool? That's what I wrote. This could be
Yeah.
this could be children's music.
100%.
And I said, this is okay, but I'm just waiting for this to be over, And
Yeah.
that's not
It's like a Sesame Street.
that's
kind
not
of
really
like,
that's not really a diss, I don't think. I think that there can be really good children's music, and I think that I was like picturing Brandino in a children's show. How good would he be at it?
like if I had kids and like I put and like this is a record that a relative got for them, and I put this on, I would be like, this is tight.
Right. And I think that honestly, that's something that he could explore and be really good at. But I just worry that is kind of a diss, because I don't think he's going for that. I think he is trying to be taken seriously as an artist and performer.
I think so too.
And I think he's trying to be taken seriously so hard that it's detrimental to him.
Yeah,
You get that vibe too?
I do.
And we can touch more on that. Anything else about Just Whistling, or Just Whistling? We kind of lump Just Whistling and Are We Cool into one.
I think they both kind of live in the same realm.
They do. They live there. They could both kind of, and they're. I mean, Are We Cool is very long.
It's super long, and it's not just like repetitive, but it's like the theme of and the message of it is just repetitive.
Yeah. So now
And then it kind of, but one more thing about that though, is like,
go ahead.
It talks about being cool, and then it kind of does this weird thing where it's talking about like the president for a second,
Yeah,
which I thought was like a really weird.
Yeah, I think that
that like kind of like took me by surprise, and like it just doesn't fit like thematically at all.
That is a thing that I remember like kind of listening to that, and when that was like, I was like, I kind of like went And
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I
That's
heard
exactly it.
like the puppy dog like
Yeah, I was like,
had
huh?
tilt. I
Yeah.
remember like listening to this. I think I heard this song live too, and I kind of had the same feeling too. So let's maybe go to track 6.
Yeah.
This track is
6.
called 86. What did you think of this song?
Man,
Yeah.
this should have just been left off the record.
Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with anything or anything to be like super proud of. I kind of like this is a true slog.
Yeah.
This song might have been so far I think was one of the sloggiest songs I had to sit through. And then by the last minute I had to skip ahead every 5 seconds to see what's going on. Like and I feel so bad about doing that, and I know that a lot of time was put into this song probably too, it seems like. And that's the craziest thing about it, right? Is that
Yeah,
how
like
much
I'm
time.
sure he's like super proud of this one, and he should be for like, but for as like in terms of like putting it on a record,
It was a true bummer.
yeah, it's sad.
It's a true like, huh?
Yeah, like that, and that goes back to the entertainment thing. Like it's like if you're gonna entertain us, and then but you also want to be taken seriously, like.
And so I think that's all we can really say. Like this song is like I almost wish I never heard it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so it just kind of leads us to the conclusion of this record is kind of a weird, uneven thing.
Yeah, I think this was his attempt at taking a stab at more vulnerability lyrically, and
Definitely. I think that definitely does come through.
yes, but I think again it kind of just missed the mark because it's so reliant on like the entertainment aspect and the live flow.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I know that this artist misses the live thing because they played a lot. They played very often.
Yes.
So of course they're going to miss that. So this is an attempt at kind of recreating that maybe for those. And maybe, I don't know when this record, you know, we don't really have a whole lot of information about when the recording started, but I could see this having been started before lockdown.
Yeah, I think a lot of it did, but
Like,
I don't know.
a theme that keeps popping into my head is there's a lot of really, really good instrumentation on here. There's some really, really good guitar work on here.
Yes,
Like there's some
good
leads,
guitar player.
and I thought you would really appreciate some of those leads. Like,
I
was
did.
like, I mean, I would love to have him come guest on one of our records on guitar because some of that was just mental, you
sure.
know. But it just gets overshadowed by, okay, you're good at that. Oh, you're good at that. Oh, you're good at that. And I kind of get the impression that Brandino, like he's obviously talented, but no one's debating that.
Yeah.
Is there any one person who is saying that Brandino is not talented?
No.
So maybe he needs to move on from trying to prove that point to us and prove that he can write like a pop hit
Exactly.
or write
I
something
agree.
catchy or something that doesn't need 6 minutes to get its point across.
That's the thing is I think he's so good at emulating styles and he just kind of wants to put it all in there. And it's like, does that serve the song? A lot of times it didn't.
Yeah, like, and I think that there are artists that are really good at doing stuff like that, emulating different styles, like Ween, or They Might Be Giants, or
Exactly.
like, I don't know, like bands like that. And I think that this kind of wants to be in that tradition, but it's just packing them all into one
To
song.
me, it's essentially a cover record.
Huh? Like in what way? Like he's covering
Just because of like,
genres?
yeah.
See, I don't know if I thought the genres were that varied, but I could see that, I guess.
It's not like song to song. It's like within the songs.
Yeah, it seems very ADHD to me,
Yeah. It's
and
just
like not in a fun way, you know.
yeah, like live, I think this is like if I was like having a beer at Founders or something, like, and this guy's playing and he does like kind of all these little like gimmicks, I'd be like, oh, this is so like entertaining and fun. Like, but
It does
am I
kind of
gonna
sound.
put this record on?
It kind of sounds gimmicky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to listen to this record again. I think I might listen to Spectacular.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a really nice song that could be used in all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
But I don't know if the rest of this. I mean, there's a song on here I wish I never heard. You know, that's
Exactly.
That's not good.
So let's actually talk about the title then, Leaps and Bounds, because I feel like this might be relevant, or this might help us process what he is trying to go for this record.
I think he took a leap.
Yeah.
He's saying he's taking a leap, and he's bounding around genres.
Yes, I think he's taking a leap with, his vulnerability and his feelings and his life experiences.
And I think that this album, maybe to him, may resonate as being like, wow, it's this big major, like all over the place work. But I don't think that as a listener, I'm really receiving that.
Same, I agree.
So I don't know if he got there. Like, I think not really.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like I don't know. I don't think that he's done making music. This is just something he made.
No, I really hope that he continues to make music because, again, he's so talented. He's such a good entertainer.
Yeah, I don't think Brandino's going anywhere. Well, so let's talk about the name change. Did the name change? Did that even? Do you think he should have changed his name at all?
I didn't. When he did that, I was like, "What's the point?"
Yeah, I kind of felt that way too.
Yeah,
but that's totally out of the realm of whatever. But the only reason is this is the first album under this name, so that's the only reason it's relevant. Otherwise, whatever. I mean, who cares? Like,
right. But it is relevant because I kind of
feel like
it's its first under Brandino Extravaganza, and it is relevant because of Solo Quiero.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that is a connection that I really didn't make, and I think that that's actually a brilliant assessment of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's very well done. Let me see if I have anything else on here. You know what? I think that's all I have about this particular record. I do say it like it's really showy without any real substance, and like I said, like we know he's talented, but what has this record proved beyond that you can play an instrument?
I'm really waiting for like more his style.
Yeah.
Spectacular does that. And I think
you're right. I don't think he's found his style yet.
Yeah. I want him to find his voice, find his style, find his niche.
Yeah, I'd love to see some songs that are maybe just him and acoustic guitar.
He has a great voice.
Do like 5 of those that it's like literally just songs, and like because other stuff like he's really good at it, but I don't know if it's like doing it for me personally.
Exactly.
But I think people are gonna like this, and I don't know if they're gonna like it because it's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you recommend this record?
No.
Same.
Like I don't really know anyone who would like this. I think maybe like
the people that go see him are gonna like it.
And here's the thing: I'm gonna qualify that with I'm not gonna recommend this record. I wouldn't recommend it as like, hey, you'd like this, but I do think that this is an artist that is worth paying attention to.
Absolutely.
And just because I don't like this record doesn't mean that they don't do great things on the regular or will once things open up. But for me personally, I don't think this work is the best representation of what they do.
Yeah. Like the whole philosophy of band scams is, I think, very different than any other kind of reviewing critic show. We're not trying to necessarily say like, should you listen to this record or not? We're just trying to like take a critical look at art and entertainment and just talk about it.
Right. And you talked about entertainment, and that's something that I think is very important, is that if a work is trying to entertain, I think it needs to do that. If it's trying to just be art, then it needs to do that. I think that you're right that this is kind of leaning more towards the entertainment side of things, but it's using art to get there. But I don't think any of us were debating his artistry,
Yeah.
Or I mean his at least his technical artistry.
Right.
He's a player.
He's a player. Yeah. If you need like a session guy, like get a hold of Brandino, because.
But I at this point I don't know if I can commend his songwriting or his producing.
Right. And like especially as like guitar players, like we're 2 guitar players that have very distinct styles.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Brandino's guitar style is.
No, not yet. But there was some very good guitar work in this.
It was. He's such a talent player. He can play covers and licks and stuff that I cannot do.
There was some really, really nice, like there's some really nice work in here, and that I think it should be celebrated. So maybe I would recommend it just for those songs. I don't know. I think maybe I'm on the fence about recommendation.
Yeah. My rating for this, Let's see. I'm going to rate it the porcelain section of an antique store.
So I'm going to go with a hole under the garage.
Okay. Under the garage.
Yeah.
Is that a Chili Peppers B-side?
Yeah. The hole in the garage. Yep. Yeah. I think
All right.
that this is, so that's 2 episodes in a row that we've mentioned Chili Peppers too. It's good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about both these records comparing.
Comparing, yes. I think both records were an exercise in vulnerability.
I think you're right. I think that even though I think that maybe Fruit Punch was maybe a little more successful than Brandino in it, I think that he did show some major vulnerability and he put himself out there. And even on track 6, even though I don't like it, he put himself out there for
He
it.
put himself out there hard.
Yeah.
And I respect that for sure.
One thing that I can say about both these records that I really, really, really appreciated is that Grand Rapids is really stepping it up big. You know, I remember a time when I first started doing music here that bands didn't even put out records. They'd be like, well, that's that band. Oh, they're awesome. Oh, what's their record like? Oh, they don't have one. Oh, they've been a band for 8 years. You know?
Right.
Like that was common. Bands didn't play out of town.
Yeah.
Like it was all cover bands and 90s shit, and it was 2004, you know? And so like for these artists to put out something of this caliber, they both sound pretty good.
Yeah. And I think they're both like relatively self-produced in some ways.
Yeah, I think that this Brandino album had a lot of mixing and mastering help. I think they both did.
Yeah.
They both have album credits, and I love to see that. I think that's great. Like bands that get other ears on it. I do think that some of the Brandino songs kind of sound like everything kind of sounds separate, like separate instruments sometimes, and that kind of bothered me.
Here's the thing. If Brandino and Fruit Punch played a show together, that would be such a fun show.
I would go for sure, and I would recommend.
sure.
I would recommend that show.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna have a great time.
Right, but I think we just need to talk about these as works, and I think you talked about entertainment. You know,
Entertainment is something that like I have personally struggled with as a musician. When I started playing in bands and writing songs, I was like, music has always been art to me. So I was like, I'm an artist. And then I went through some personal stuff, and it really kind of curbed my songwriting. I didn't write songs for a good number of years, and I was playing in bands very actively, but that was it. And I was really kind of feeling down about my artistry, and I kind of started categorizing myself as an entertainer. And as of 2020, I started writing music again on a more personal level. And I am now very purposely categorizing myself as an artist again.
Okay, interesting.
Not to say that being an entertainer is bad, but my purpose for writing music is to create meaningful art.
I feel like I've always kind of been keenly aware of both, and I kind of try to do both. And the frustration I have is I have to use entertainment to get people to pay attention to the art.
Yeah.
You know, like and you know that about me is that like it literally gets to me that people like don't quite get what we're doing. Yeah. But I have to be obvious in a way that makes me uncomfortable about my art in order to get it to hit people over the head with it. You know?
Did we talk about that last episode? How people come to our shows not for the music half the time.
And that's fine. But like we know that, and as long as if we can like lure like bait and switch, that's fine. And maybe like a lot of what music, being in a band or being an artist is, or entertainer is, this kind of bait and switch. You bait them with the art and you get them with entertainment, or you bait them with entertainment and you get them with the art, you know.
For sure. I think we are really good at playing to our strengths, and our strengths are definitely in that entertainment vibe. But I think I really do wish, just on a personal level, more people were able to kind of see the artistry in, like, you know, our band at least.
Right. I think that like, what Brandino is doing is similar to this, where he is using the idiom of entertainment to kind of show off his creativity. Yeah. And he's creative. And I think maybe that's what the difference here is, like, you almost have someone with a mastery of their craft, and you have someone, Fruit Punch, who is pretty amateur at it.
Yeah.
But I think that Fruit Punch was more successful in what he was doing.
Yeah, it's almost like as if remember in art classes there was assignments where they give you a prompt, and then as you got into more advanced classes, you could kind of just do whatever you wanted.
Right.
And I always really enjoyed having the limitations in the prompts.
Right.
And I think like maybe in some level, Brandino doesn't have any limitations because he's just such a masterful musician in that way.
That is
he's
interesting.
He's able to just achieve the sound that he's going for so well.
I get the impression that he is being somewhat handicapped by his own talent.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going for that. But it's kind of unmistakable to me that that it's almost hiding something, this like the sheer talent and like kind of virtuosity of it, which I'm using that word very lightly. Like I think he's like at the edges of virtuo. But it's almost, I think, becoming a burden on him.
I agree. Yeah, it's like I don't know. He's like, I want it to sound like, I want to have this like kind of ripping soul that has like kind of this like proggy vibe, and he does that, and he does it like exact. It's not like Brandino did like, oh, you can tell that he like likes prog. It's like, oh, he just like is able to just do that. And
ultimately, he might have just made some really specific hard choices that we're just not that into.
Yeah,
exactly. Like he might have just been like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do, and he like these are well thought out musically, like complete thoughts, and we just aren't vibing on it.
I think that's honestly the case here. Is there's just a lot going on that we don't necessarily vibe with, but
we want to like it.
Yeah, and like
that's
again,
good.
Everything is so like recognizable and like accessible, and when people hear this, they're like, "Oh, that I know that sound. Oh, I know that sound," and so it's for everyone, and that's like a really special thing.
I think I'd like to just hear more of what happened with track 1 and like less of what happened with Whistling and the other one. Even like Solo Quiero, I like better than Whistling.
Yeah, me too.
And that's like more not to the strength of Solo Quiero, but to the weakness of Whistling.
Yeah, it's yeah, he's really good at building songs like in a live setting, but crafting songs when you're not in a live setting, that is, I think, something that he's just not there yet.
Nope, I don't think so either. And it's just not quite compelling yet. But for what it is, I think that people are going to like it.
Yes.
So I don't know if I would recommend it, but listeners, please listen to it.
Yeah. Brandino, you're an incredible musician. Thank you again for submitting this.
Thank you. Yeah, awesome. And it's fun to talk about. And I'm like enjoying talking about these records. I think that we're going to do artist submitted, but eventually I think we're just going to start plucking them.
Yeah, we're just going to have to pick them now. I think we're getting kind of towards the end of the submissions, but it's not too late, listeners. Bandscamps@gmail.com. Please submit your 2020 quarantine music to us.
Yeah, and send us any comments, any suggestions, anything you got. We'll read your comments. We're going to do some recap episodes. We really appreciate you listening to this. This has been episode 4, and we're going to be back next week with another 2 records.
That's right.
Anything else you want to add today, Dan?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good too. Like I said, Grand Rapids is stepping it up. And that's the thing, is that the more we do this, the more critical we're going to be. And I think we're probably more critical of these records than we were of the last one. And it's going to just keep going like that. So the point is that we're just 2 guys who are trying our best to speak our minds honestly. And this is actually really challenging.
It is.
So, like, I'm not asking like for any, I'm not trying to like qualify this or give you any background, but just like, you should know it's challenging. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not asking for a response for that, but like, I felt like it was maybe a good idea to say that.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's a challenge, but it's been fun. And we're going to be back next week.
Yeah. We'll see you at episode 5, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
This has been a Grand Rhapsody production. Executive produced by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez.